Welcome to the virtual lunch. Today is Friday, April 22nd, and this is virtual lunch number 545. Our guest today is Peter Eilhauer, the Managing Director of Legal Spend Management at Epiq, and this is part of our awesome April series on metrics and successful transformation with the team at Epiq. Hi, Peter. How are you?
I'm doing well.
I'm looking forward to our conversation. Tell us about your background and your role at Epiq.
So first off, I lead our spend management practice at Epiq. This is really anything and everything related to data, and specifically outside counsel data. We're working with clients to help them analyze and visualize and take action on those insights that we find in their data and help them make better buying decisions. And really the spin that we're doing here at Epiq is that, as you know, Epiq has a ton of experience in litigation, advanced analytics, machine learning, and the like. And so we're taking that expertise and we're going really deep into billing data to help classify and organize the data in a way that our clients can know exactly what they're doing, exactly what their outside counsel are doing, and help them make sense of that data and then choose better directions and ideally reduce their costs. And then me personally, so I've been around the legal industry for almost 18 years, and I started my career on the law firm cost consulting side. I then went in-house for a period of about 5 years with a large insurance company in a de facto legal operations role. And then the last 8 years, I've been in the alternative legal services environment. And I've been supporting mainly corporate legal departments in the areas of legal spend management and legal operations. So like I said, I was started in cost management for law firms. So that was sourcing and procurement consulting. And I really enjoyed the spend analytics and telling the story with the data that you receive. And I was very good at that. I mean, you never go hungry if you know Excel in the legal industry. So I certainly like that work. And I had an opportunity to work with a large corporate client, and they had a need where they wanted to take all of this internal matter and workload data and organize it into something that could help them to better manage the work that's coming in. So that was via Excel. I built a matter workload dashboard. Then I had that moment where I'm like, there's something there, and this is important, and it's not being done to a great degree in the legal industry. So I took that as a cue to do a couple things. One was find a job where that was more focused on spend analytics and vendor management. And that's what I did with the insurance company. And the second thing is I was headed to business school at the time. And so I focused on anything that was analytic management related, learned about the dashboard technologies that were out there at the time, learned about all those tools and techniques, so that when I came back out and it was time to think about my next step, it was focusing in that spend management and data visualization for legal departments. First off, it's amazing to see how legal operation has grown over the last decade. I've been there in the beginning, and everyone on this call, so many people have been there seeing that happen over the course of the decade. It's been really interesting. And like you said, 10 years ago, it was a twinkle in people's eyes. And now you have legal operations teams. So head of legal operations, not just a head of legal operations, but a legal technology manager, an outside counsel manager. You have operations, a significant investment in operations. You have a significant investment in technology, and you're seeing the maturity really take hold across legal departments. Like you said, a large legal department cannot really exist without legal operations and some investment in technology today. So you got this great maturity across the board, and you're asking where can you optimize some of that? The big optimization is about where the work will reside. And that's where we're seeing a lot of discussion today is you think 20 years ago, you sent all your work to your outside counsel. And now you have a lot of different places where you can put that work. You have an increase in in-house capacity. 20 years ago, you didn't have big law departments. Now you do. You have an increase in alternative legal service providers who are doing much more varied work than legal process outsourcing 1.0. You have flexible legal talent solutions that are out there that give you that hybrid of full-time, not full-time. In spend management, the first lever that I talked about earlier is let me evaluate your cost so I can find where you can reduce your costs. But then the second lever is let's not talk about reducing your costs directly. Let's talk about where does that work sit And by sitting it in the right place, you will reduce your costs. That's where you're going to see a lot more thought and investment going into over the next coming years. Probably a couple of challenges. One would be challenge around data. I'm not saying that we don't have data in this industry. In fact, we have a lot of data in this industry, more than most other industries. You think about where I focus on billing data, and you have this really rich set of information. You have the specific work that was done, the person that did it, the level that did it, the hours, the rates, and then a very descriptive explanation of what was done. And you think about any other industry, like home building. Do I know how many hours it took to build the house that I'm in and the amount of raw materials that it took to build the house? Like, no, you don't have that information, but you have it here. So you're awash with data. Making sense of that data is a challenge. Where you're seeing more investment, and certainly we're investing, is using modern analytics techniques. So using machine learning, using data science, taking that data, classifying it in really deep detail so that you can understand just what was done, so that you can start to evaluate, well, where should I put this work? That's certainly a challenge, but in recent years, just by way of technology and capabilities increasing, you're starting to solve that challenge. A capable business analyst, reporting analyst is something that should be table stakes in a legal operations team. And I'm not talking about a data scientist or machine learning expert, AI expert, or anything like that, because you can leverage consulting and alternative legal service providers to get the arms and legs to do the data classification and data munging and so forth. But having someone who's comfortable in taking that data and then analyzing it and telling a story with that data is really key for law departments. So, because there's a number of different data sources too. You've got data coming from your contract system, you got data coming from your billing system, your IP system, any number of systems. And so, if you can have a person there who knows your business and knows what's important to your business and can report on that data, and then in some cases work with a provider like us to clean up that data so that they can then make sense of it, that's a really helpful role for corporate law departments. And you see right now, because that doesn't exist, clients are leaning on us to do more of that analysis and interpretation, as well as the cleansing and classification and automation of their data analytics. That's something that you could eventually see going over to the other side. Humans like consistency, right? So having 5 days a week in the office, in one sense, that's really onerous. But in another sense, okay, I can set my watch to that. And now I have consistency. Fully remote is also very consistent. But when you get into a scenario of, I don't know, let's be in there on Tuesdays, and then suddenly you're like, well, why don't we just all come in on Thursdays? You create this dissonance among people. And so where I'm going to guess it would settle is you're going to have committed X days a week, and people are already starting to organize around that. These are the days that we're going to all be in here. Or I know of companies that are having lunch catered in on Wednesday, Thursday, wink, wink. That's when you're in the office. There you go. You're forcing the issue of creating a modified work schedule. I worked remotely before the pandemic as well. So I noticed it was a little frustrating from my angle, because when I'm working remotely before the pandemic and there's the quietest of cries from my baby, you got that, oh, what's going on there, right? And then it went all the way to the other side where everybody's working remote. People have baseball caps and cats on their lap. And you're like, a week ago, you were really mad at me because my dog whined. Now it's like on the other side where anything goes. And you can see that too as snap back. It's not like, hey, come see my family. It's, no, we're working. And this is a work environment, and we're just at home with our own decor here. There has been a snapback.
Peter Eilhauer, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks to you for this great conversation. And of course, to our friends at Epiq for supporting this series on metrics and successful transformation. All right, everybody. I hope you have a great weekend.